What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Friday, January 22nd. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. I'm doing these picks early in the morning so I can get this video out so you have time to watch it. But a lot of things happen before the games start with injury news and COVID updates. So we've just created a live before lock injury and COVID update news article that we have posted right when you log into your draft dashboard. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the draft dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, let's take a look at the point guard position. I'm going to give you two value plays, and I mostly like these value plays on FanDuel, but one of them is not too bad on DraftKings. So let's start off with the first one that's more of a FanDuel play. I like Jalen Brunson from the Dallas Mavericks playing the San Antonio Spurs, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, but they give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Jalen Brunson has averaged 19.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 21 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. He scored 28 and 18 fantasy points in the last two games, playing 33 and 27 minutes. He's projected at 24.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 6.2 times value because he's only $3,900 FanDuel salary, but he's $800 more on DraftKings. So I love that FanDuel price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 222.5 points scored in this game. So if you're looking for a value play on FanDuel, take a look at Jalen Brunson here versus the San Antonio Spurs. Now the other value play, this guy's coming back from COVID. He should be playing today. His salary's pretty low, so I like Tomas Satoransky from the Chicago Bulls playing the Charlotte Hornets, who have the 8th worst defense overall and they're middle of the pack defending opposing point guards. Tomas Satoransky has averaged 20.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 22 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He's projected at 22 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.6 times value. He's only $3,900 FanDuel salary, and he's $500 more on DraftKings. So I like Tomas Satoransky here versus the Charlotte Hornets. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. I like Victor Oladipo from the Houston Rockets playing the Detroit Pistons, who have the 7th worst defense overall and they're middle of the pack defending opposing shooting guards. Victor Oladipo has averaged 39 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He's projected at 42 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.9 times value. He's $8,500 FanDuel salary and $500 less on DraftKings. So I like that DraftKings price. He scored 47 and 51 fantasy points in his last two games as a Houston Rocket, playing 31 and 32 minutes. And he's had a 37 and a 42% usage rate. So I like Victor Oladipo here versus the Detroit Pistons. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like Kevin Durant from the Brooklyn Nets playing the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing small forwards. Kevin Durant, he's averaged 52 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 36 minutes per game with a 32% usage rate. He's been on fire, scoring 77, 53 and 60 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 50, 35, and 40 minutes. He's projected at 53.7 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's 10,500 FanDuel salary and 200 more on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 227.5 points scored in this game, so I like Kevin Durant here versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, just a word of caution here. He did play 50 minutes last game. This could be a trap play here. His salary's been rising. He's been fantastic the past 3 games, so he could be due for a down game here. But if you want to ride the hot hand, Kevin Durant's looking pretty good.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
So if you're looking for a value play here at the small forward position, take a look at Miles Bridges from the Charlotte Hornets playing the Chicago Bulls, who have the 4th worst defense overall, and they've been pretty good versus opposing small forwards. But Miles Bridges has averaged 21.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 26 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. He scored 22, 21, and 18 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 25, 28, and 28 minutes. He's projected at 22.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He's 4,300 FanDuel salary and 200 more on DraftKings. So I like Miles Bridges here versus the Chicago Bulls. Okay, who do we have at the power forward position? I'm going to give you a value play here. I like Nerlens Noel from the New York Knicks playing the Sacramento Kings, who have the absolute worst defense overall, and they give up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Nerlens Noel has averaged 16.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 16 minutes per game with a 12% usage rate. He scored 35, 13, and 22 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 20, 13, and 23 minutes. He's projected at 22 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.8 times value. He's 3,800 FanDuel salary and 400 less on DraftKings. So I like that price on both sites, but especially on DraftKings. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 218 points scored in this game. Great matchup. I think he makes an excellent value play here tonight. So I like Nerlens Noel here versus the Sacramento Kings. Okay, moving on to the center position. Now, I picked this player the last time they played the Brooklyn Nets, and he was a flop, but I'm expecting a bounce-back game here. His salary's come down a little bit, and I think his ownership is going to be way down because of his bad performance last game. So I like Andre Drummond from the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the Brooklyn Nets, who have the 5th worst defense overall, and they give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing centers. Andre Drummond has averaged 46.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 32% usage rate. He scored 25 and 75 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 25 and 39 minutes. So he only played 25 minutes last game. Awful performance of only 25 fantasy points, but that was coming after a 75-point fantasy game. So I'm hoping that we're going to get a bounce-back game from him here tonight. He's projected at 49.2 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.7 times value. He's 8,600 FanDuel salary and 800 more on DraftKings. So I love that FanDuel price. Major upside at only 8,600 FanDuel salary. He can get you a 50, a 60, a 70. He can put up monster fantasy points here. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 227.5 points scored in this game. So a high-scoring game, great matchup, bounce-back game, probably low ownership because of the poor performance last game. I hope I'm not wrong twice with this pick. So I like Andre Drummond here versus the Brooklyn Nets.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.